Based on these definitions, we can now interpret the moot to mean that persons of secondary school age who commit a serious offense.
The Oxford Learner's Dictionary defines an adult as a person who is legally responsible for his actions, offers no justice to the victim or their family.
Good evening and welcome to this, the third encounter in round one of the 2025 Intersecondary School Debate Series, brought to you in association with Caribbean Union Bank. This evening, we have an exciting and thought-provoking moot for you. The moot: juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. I repeat, juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. This evening's competition is set to be both engaging and informative, as both teams will skillfully present well-reasoned arguments supported by logic, evidence, and persuasive rhetoric. We have two schools competing today. The St. Anthony Secondary, who will argue in favor of the motion, while the SMGSS George Secondary will argue against the motion. Let us meet the teams. And we begin with the proposing team, the St. Anthony's Secondary School.
Good day, my name is Janelle Michael. I'm a fifth form student of the St. Anthony Secondary School, and I'm the first speaker.
Hey everyone, my name is Faith Moses of the St. Anthony Secondary School. I'm in fourth form. I'm the second speaker.
Good day, my name is Justin Ayub. I am a third former from St. Anthony Secondary School and I'm first backup speaker.
Good day, my name is Jaden Carter. I am a third former from the St. Anthony Secondary School and I'm the second backup speaker.
Kindly welcome the team from St. Anthony Secondary. Now let's meet the opposing team, the SMGSS George Secondary School.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Janacia Butler, and I'm a fourth form student of the SMGSS George Secondary School.
My name is Garen Coffey of the fifth form, SMGSS George Secondary School, second speaker.
And I'd also like to acknowledge the standby members who unfortunately could not have been with us this evening, Miss Shisha Ned and Tyrone Joseph. Please give the team from SMGSS George Secondary a round of applause. This evening, we are also privileged to have an esteemed panel of judges who will evaluate this evening's debate based on content, delivery, the rebuttals, and teamwork. Our judges for this evening are Mr. Ursel Charles Jr., Chief Judge for the 2025 Debate Series and Impromptu Speaking Competition, and Deputy Director of News and Current Affairs at ABS Television. Please give a round of applause. We also have Ms. Sharon Herbert, Social Sector Planner within the Ministry of Social Transformation. And Mr. Shavar Maloney, Marketing, Communications and Commercialization Officer at the UWI Five Islands campus. And again, as I say after every introduction of the judges, I wish to remind everyone that the judge's decision is, final. Very good. Okay, so now we move to the debate format and rules. Each team has two speakers. The first speaker from each team will have 5 minutes to present their argument, while the second speakers have 3 minutes. For the first speakers, a bell will sound once at 4 minutes and twice when the 5 minutes have expired. For second speakers, the bell will sound once at the 2-minute mark and twice when the allotted 3 minutes have ended. The same will apply for the rebuttal argument. Rebuttal speakers have 3 minutes in which to make their presentation. Our timekeeper for this evening is Miss Aisha Lynch. Please give our timekeeper a round of applause. So we have met our teams, we have met the judges, and we are now ready to begin this evening's encounter. But before we do so, let us pause to hear a word from our sponsor, Caribbean Union Bank. And when we come back, the debate will begin.
Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way. Caribbean Union Bank, you matter to us. Caribbean Union Bank, our people, our purpose. Every day at Caribbean Union Bank, we are committed to creating the kinds of products and services that you want and need. We are not just a bank. We are your partner on your journey to financial freedom and success, because we are driven by you. Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way.
Thank you for staying with us, and welcome back to this, our third encounter in round one of the Caribbean Union Bank Inter-Secondary School Debate Series. This evening, two teams, the St. Anthony Secondary School proposing and Sir Chesney George Secondary opposing, will debate the moot. Juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. Juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming to the lectern our first speaker from the St. Anthony's Secondary School, Janelle Michael.
Madam Moderator, honorable judges, worthy opponents, listening and viewing audiences, good evening. We are here to propose the moot: juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. However, in order for this argument to be sound, we must first define the key terms as described under the laws of Antigua and Barbuda. As listed in the Juvenile Act 2015, a juvenile is any person between the ages of 12 and 16. Under the Anti-Gang Act 2024, a serious crime or offense can include, but is not limited to, larceny, forgery, the misuse of drugs, and malicious damage or bodily harm. An adult is any person who has attained the age of 18. Based on these definitions, we can now interpret the moot to mean that persons of secondary school age who commit a serious offense should be tried at the same level as an adult. As is common knowledge, violence amongst the youth has increased significantly over the last few years. Consequently, measures have been put in place to address this serious problem. Now, my colleague and I will guide you through our arguments, and by the end, you will be convinced that a juvenile being tried as an adult is necessary. I will speak on the following facts: the psychological development and the effect it has on the decision-making process. The juvenile system is having a hard time keeping up with the violent offenders. Some of our youth commit crimes knowing there are limited repercussions, and being tried as an adult give juvenile offenders the opportunity to be tried by a jury. My colleague will then address a crime being a crime regardless of age, the availability of rehabilitation, and the use of adult sentences as a deterrent. Madam Moderator, our opponent may center their arguments around brain development and the decision-making process in young individuals. While psychological development is a key factor, it cannot be the entire argument. It is important to note at this time, under the law of the land, no person under the age of 8 years can be tried for any crime, regardless of its severity. In a study conducted by Judy Smetana, psychology professor of the University of Rochester, children as young as 2 years can tell the difference between right and wrong. Given that maturity increases with age, don't you think that a juvenile, as defined by Antiguan and Barbudan law, is capable of making decisions based on social and moral rules? Worthy opponents, the juvenile system is overwhelmed and having a hard time keeping up with violent youth. The Boys Training School, that institution has been shut down since 2018, and despite our efforts to reopen the facility, it remains closed to this day. And while the Sunshine Home for Girls was created by the Salvation Army for at-risk girls, a facility to house just violent offenders has never been established. So what juvenile system shall we use to punish our youth offenders? Honorable judges,
Some youth offenders commit their crimes knowing that there are limited actions that can be taken against them. Many violent offenders have taken advantage of being a youth. The idea is that as a youth, they are protected by an outdated juvenile justice system and will receive a more lenient punishment for any offense committed. In an interview with Magistrate Nadia Emmanuel, she explained that many youth offenders start off on the right path, but can sometimes be influenced by their peers and members of the community. In an interview with the Daily Observer, Police Commissioner Atley Rodney affirmed that the adults need to be better role models in the home and in the society for our children. As the adage says, it takes a village to raise a child if we don't want them to end up behind bars. Being tried as an adult gives the youth offender the opportunity to be tried by a jury. In speaking with Magistrate Emmanuel, it was necessary for us to understand the justice system, as it was before and as it is now. Prior to 2024, any juvenile who committed a serious crime went before the Child Justice Board to learn their fate, as mandated in the Child Justice Act 2015. This board consists of a magistrate, 2 social workers, and a member of the clergy, and they are the ones who determine the offender's fate. In contrast, since the implementation of the Anti-Gang Act, any youth offender that commits a serious crime is to be tried as an adult. This means that their fate is decided by a panel of 12 jurors, as described in the Jury Act of 2009. I don't know about you, but I would prefer to have my fate decided by 12 persons rather than just 4. It's almost like if they think they have a get-out-of-jail-free card. Except this is not Monopoly, and real life comes with real consequences. Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. Michael from the St. Anthony Secondary School, their first speaker, and she presented her argument in a time of 4 minutes and 30 seconds. We now turn to the opposing team, the Summer Chesney George Secondary. Please welcome the first speaker, Janicia Butler.
Madam Moderator, honorable judges, my worthy opponents, listening and viewing audiences, good evening. My colleague and I are here to oppose the moot, juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. Madam Moderator, before I get into my arguments, allow me to define the key terms in tonight's moot. Collins Dictionary defines a juvenile as, quote, a child or young person who is not yet old enough to be regarded as an adult, end of quote. The Antigua and Barbuda Child Justice Act is very specific in defining a child. According to that legislation, a child means a person under the age of 18 years. To provide further context, let's look at who is considered an adult. The Oxford Learner's Dictionary defines an adult as a person who is legally responsible for his actions. According to dictionary.com, commit means, quote, to do, perform, perpetrate, end of quote. The Oxford English Dictionary defines a serious crime as, quote, an act that is punishable by law or is considered a public wrong. This can include an act or omission that goes against the law or an offense that is considered to be evil or injurious, end of quote. In legal terms, tried means to have a trial in court to determine if someone is guilty of a crime. Source, google.com. Madam Moderator, honorable judges, I would like to submit to you that if an adult, by definition, is a person who is legally responsible for his actions, and a juvenile is not yet old enough to be regarded as an adult, then it stands to reason that a juvenile cannot be held legally responsible for his actions in the same way that you would an adult, and therefore should not be tried as an adult under any circumstances. The debate over trying juveniles as adults is a complex and controversial issue that elicits strong opinions on both sides. Both arguments have merit, and the decision to try a juvenile as an adult should not be taken lightly. The goal of the juvenile justice system should be to provide rehabilitation and education to the young offenders while also holding them accountable and protecting the public from future harm. Madam Moderator, juveniles may not fully understand the consequences of their actions due to ongoing brain development, and that which states that they should be treated differently than adults. Madam Moderator, this is why we have a progressive legislation like Antigua and Barbuda Child Act Justice 2015. This is, and I quote, an act to establish a criminal justice process for children accused of committing offenses based on restorative justice and which aims at protecting the rights of children, to provide for the minimum age of criminal capacity of such children, to institute the diversion of cases away from formal court procedures, to establish assessment of children and an initial inquiry as compulsory procedures, to extend sentencing options available in respect of children, to consolidate the laws of the administration of justice for children and connected purposes. End of quote. Rachel L. Graber of the Cedarville University, in an article titled, "Is it acceptable for juveniles to be tried as adults?" describes the practice as unconstitutional and immoral. She then went on to say that the practice creates issues due to the lack of attention to juvenile competency. According to her, the brain does not have a fully developed frontal lobe until approximately age 21, leaving juveniles with a brain incapable of making decisions and analyzing situations as adults can. She went on to make the following points. Juveniles are unable to understand the due process of law and the rights they deserve. A juvenile does not understand his rights in the criminal court as an adult understands them. Juveniles are vulnerable and impressionable and deserve rehabilitation tailored to their needs. Madam Moderator, the second principle in the Declaration of the Child states, quote, "The child shall enjoy special protection and shall be given opportunities and facilities by law and by other means to enable him to develop physically, mentally, morally, spiritually, and socially in a healthy and normal manner, and in the conditions of freedom and dignity. In the enactment of laws, for this purpose, the best interest of the child shall be the paramount consideration. Trying a juvenile as an adult would be a clear violation of this principle." I thank you.
Come on, we can do better than that. Wonderful. That was Janicia Butler, first speaker from the Summer Chesney George Secondary School, presenting her arguments in a time of 4 minutes and 53 seconds. So we have heard from both first speakers, and we will now turn our attention to the second speakers. And we begin with the second speaker from the proposing team, the St. Anthony's Secondary School. Please welcome to the lectern, Miss Faith Moses.
All protocols observed, good evening. I will continue the proposition's argument that juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. Judges, a crime is a crime, regardless of age. Murder is still murder and theft is still theft. The perpetrators of such crimes must be held accountable for their actions. There's no reason to treat a serious crime committed by a 14-year-old differently to that of a 50-year-old. Turning a blind eye to an offense simply because it was committed by a juvenile offers no justice to the victim or their family. If somebody came into my school as a cutlass-wielding bandit, I would want them to be held accountable, not get away with a slap on the wrist and some community service. The aims of trying juveniles as adults are to remove many violent juveniles from the system, limit their confidentiality, and here's the advantage: provide real rehabilitation opportunities. It also aims to hold juveniles and their parents accountable for their behaviors, provides early intervention, and curbs gun violence amongst youth. Madam Moderator, opponents would have you think that going to prison and being tried as an adult could spell the end of that juvenile offender's life, but that is far from the truth. When juveniles are tried as adults, it does not necessarily mean they will receive the same harsh penalties as adult offenders. Courts can still consider mitigating factors such as the offender's age and potential for rehabilitation. This approach ensures that justice is served while allowing room for reform, ensuring rehabilitation opportunities like a higher education from UE Open Campus, or learning to fix cars instead of hotwiring them. Judges, being tried as an adult also affords social workers more time to work with these young offenders and possibly reintegrate them into society. Who are the opponents? The Royal Police Force of Antigua and Barbuda arrested 20 young people under the age of 16 for various crimes, as stated in an article named Top Cop Says, Surge in Youth Crime is the Main Cause for Concern in the Daily Observer in August 2024. Police Commissioner Atlee Ronnie urges that understanding the root cause behind this surge in youth violence and implementing effective strategies to address it are vital in safeguarding the future. Judges, clearly the outdated juvenile system is not a large enough deterrent for youth offenders. The Cabinet discussed 3 legislative changes, including raising the minimum sentence for serious crimes from 2 to 3 years. Harsher sentences could help deter juveniles from crime. Judges, the juvenile justice system was designed to help troubled youth who commit minor offenses. However, many of the current cases involve serious offenses as evidenced by the recent trends. The end goal is to provide rehabilitation and education while also holding them accountable and protecting the public. Madam Moderator, our argument has come to a close and we reiterate our stance in this debate. Juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. Thank you.
Thank you, Faith, from the St. Anthony Secondary School. She was their second speaker, and she presented her argument in a time of 2 minutes and 57 seconds. We will now hear from the second speaker from the Sir McChesney George Secondary. Please welcome Mr. Garen Coffey.
Madam Moderator, honorable judges, worthy opponents, listening and viewing audiences, good evening. My colleague has already laid the foundations for our argument, and I will provide further evidence to convince you beyond a shadow of a doubt juveniles should not be tried as adults, regardless of the seriousness of their crimes. We are not suggesting that juveniles should not be held accountable, but we are saying that there should be special consideration when it comes to them as juveniles. The first paragraph of Article 3 of the Convention of the Rights of a Child tells us that the best interest of the child shall be given primary consideration in all actions concerning children. End of quote. Madam Moderator, prosecuting youths as adults puts them at risk. Many juveniles in the justice system experience and witness violence and trauma. Youth in the adult criminal justice system face a high risk of sexual abuse, physical assault, and suicide. Incarcerating children with adults also denies them access to many essential programs and services, including basic and special education, as well as treatment and counseling services, impeding their chances of healthy development. Education is also closely linked to reducing repeat offenders. The successful re-entry of juveniles into their community is compromised when they are deprived of appropriate and adequate educational opportunities. Additionally, Madam Moderator, a criminal record can limit job opportunities, making it difficult for juveniles to reintegrate into society. Madam Moderator, the adult criminal justice system is not equipped to provide rehabilitation and education that juveniles need. The juvenile justice system, as my colleague pointed out, is designed to provide rehabilitation and education, whereas adult criminal justice systems are primarily focused on punishment. Madam Moderator, honorable judges, the consequences of being tried as an adult can have permanent and devastating impacts on the juvenile's future. According to clinical psychologist Ms. Jonille Walsh, the way you handle children is different to the way you handle adults. If they are not handled in a sensitive manner, you may end up inflicting more psychological harm in the long run, increasing the chances of developing poor self-esteem, post-traumatic stress disorder, and many other mental health-related conditions becoming higher. End of quote. Furthermore, Madam Moderator, research indicates that treating juveniles in the adult system can lead to high recidivism rates compared to those handled within the juvenile system. Madam Moderator, we remain resolute that it is totally unacceptable that a 10, 11, or 12-year-old, regardless of the seriousness of their crimes, should be tried in a court of law as an adult. We rest our case. I thank you.
Thank you, Garen, from the Sir McChesney George Secondary School, their second speaker, and he presented his arguments in a time of 2 minutes and 43 seconds. Please Join me in giving both teams a resounding round of applause for their efforts made in the prepared presentation. The rebuttals are next. But before we hear from both teams, we will now pause to hear from our sponsor, Caribbean Union Bank. When we come back, we will have the rebuttals. Please stay with us.
Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way. Caribbean Union Bank, you matter to us. Caribbean Union Bank, our people, our purpose. Every day at Caribbean Union Bank, we are committed to creating the kinds of products and services that you want and need. We are not just a bank. We are your partner on your journey to financial freedom and success, because we are driven by you. Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way.
Thank you for staying with us, and welcome back to this evening's encounter, which is featuring the St. Anthony Secondary School and the Summer Chesney George Secondary. They are meeting to debate the moot: juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. We have concluded our prepared presentations, and we are now at the rebuttals. In the rebuttals, I wish to remind everyone that the opposing team will present first, and then we will hear from the proposing team. Janicia Butler will present on behalf of the Summer Chesney George Secondary, while Miss Faith Moses will present on behalf of the St. Anthony Secondary School. Rebuttal speakers, you have a maximum time of 3 minutes in which to make your presentations. As with the prepared presentations, the bell will sound once after the 2-minute mark and twice when the allotted 3 minutes would have expired. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, we're now ready to hear from our rebuttal speakers. Please welcome from the Summer Chesney George Secondary School, Miss Janicia Butler.
Hello. Madam Moderator, honorable judges, listening and viewing audiences, good evening once again. My opponents have failed to make a justifiable argument for trying juveniles as adults. These are individuals whose brains, according to Rachel L. Graber, are not capable of making decisions and analyzing situations as adults can. I will now proceed to highlight the flaws in their argument and show exactly why we remain resolute that trying juveniles as adults provides no benefit to anyone and would cause more harm than good. We are not saying to give them a slap on the wrist, but there are ways to hold juveniles accountable without treating them as adults while also making victims feel safe. Juveniles still have ongoing brain development and are impressionable, making it easier to curb their behaviors, preventing future harm to the public or possible victims. Let's look at adults. They are already stuck in their ways and are less impressionable than juveniles, making it way harder or close to impossible to curb their behaviors. If you think that juveniles should be tried as adults, then we might as well just all consider them adults. Madam Moderator, we reiterate that the best interest of the child shall be a primary consideration in all actions considering children. Madam Moderator, honorable judges, the facts speak for themselves. Juveniles lack the cognitive maturity to be tried as adults. Justice should focus on rehabilitation and not punishment that ignores their development. Now, opponents, can you process that with your underdeveloped frontal lobe? I thank you. The opposition rests.
Thank you, Miss Janicia Butler from the Summer Chesney George Secondary School, and she presented her rebuttal arguments in a time of 1 minute and 44 seconds. We now move to the proposing team, and we now invite Miss Faith Moses from the St. Anthony Secondary School to come to the lectern.
Madam Moderator, judges, worthy opponents, listening and viewing audiences, good evening. The proposition will be rebutting these 4 points that the opposition stated. Firstly, human rights. Secondly, rehabilitation versus punishment. Thirdly, adult system is unsafe for minors. And lastly, brain development. Judges, firstly, opponent stated that it goes against the rights of a minor to try them as an adult. We strongly disagree with this point because what about the rights of the victim? The crime that was done against them. And what about the rights of the public to be kept safe? Secondly, opponent stated that we focus on the rehabilitation of the offender. But judges, the adult system provides both rehabilitation and also education for the juvenile. Thirdly, our worthy opponent stated that the adult prison is not safe for minors. But Madam Moderator, the system is set up for them to be held in a different location from the adults until the age of 18, and they can choose to be transferred to an adult section of the prison. Lastly, our opponents brought the point of brain development. We will restate again. In a study conducted by Judy Smetana, children as young as 2 years can tell the difference between right and wrong. And we end this rebuttal with the word of the Holy Bible, Proverbs 13:24. Those who spare the rod and spoil the child hate their children, but those who love them discipline them. And we take the liberty to add, as an adult. This is why we stand firm in our argument. Juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Moses. Presenting rebuttal arguments on behalf of the St. Anthony Secondary School, and she did so in a time of 1 minute and 40 seconds. Let us extend a round of applause to both teams. And we wish to commend them for their hard work, research, and eloquent presentations on this evening's moot. Juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. The task is now in the hands of the judges, and they will decide who will advance to round 2 based on each team's performance here this evening. Will it be the St. Anthony Secondary, or will it be the Summer Chesney George Secondary? Please stay with us, and you'll find out when we come back.
Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way. Caribbean Union Bank, you matter to us. Caribbean Union Bank, our people, our purpose. Every day at Caribbean Union Bank, we are committed to creating the kinds of products and services that you want and need. We are not just a bank. We are your partner on your journey to financial freedom and success. Because we are driven by you. Driven by you, we're better every day. Driven by you, together a brighter way.
Thank you for staying with us, and welcome back to this evening's encounter where we saw the St. Anthony Secondary School coming up against the Summer Chesney George Secondary, debating the moot, juveniles who commit serious crimes should be tried as adults. It is now time for the judge's decision. Please welcome to the podium Ms. Sharon Herbert, who will present the report and findings on behalf of the panel.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. Good evening to our studio and viewing audiences. It gives me great pleasure to present the results on behalf of my fellow judges. Now, this evening's encounter, the topic which, of course, many students are privy to and it's a topical issue where we're dealing with juvenile delinquency and youth violence. So we were eager and anxious, and our expectations were extremely high coming into tonight's debate. We found that both teams did a fairly good job of research, citing resources, using both local, regional, international references. So we would like to commend them, and we would like you to give both teams a round of applause. In terms of the delivery, and that's where sometimes we separate the girls from the women and the boys from the men. Delivery is very important, and we found that there was a little bit of reading on both sides of the panels, and one team in particular, there was a bit of a rush and a bit of aggression, and we would like to caution you that, remember, you have to present, but you have to engage with your audience so that everyone could follow your presentation. So let's look at the opposition. We found that the opposition, they had a more controlled and measured style of delivery, which was preferred by the judges, while the proposition was a bit rushed and a bit aggressive, and the tone could have been a little bit easy, or what I would say a bit more free-flowing. In terms of the prepared speeches, we found that, however, the proposition, they did a better job at organizing their points, giving an outline, following the outline, and there was a better flow in terms of what the first speaker would have given in the outline and the structure that was followed. While the opposition, we found that there was a bit lacking, they were a bit lacking on the outline, because we noticed that it wasn't easy to follow their structure because an outline was not clearly demarked. But again, we want to commend both teams because we saw that there was good evidence of teamwork. And overall, the prepared segments were fairly well done. Now, the rebuttals. We found that the proposition presented clear structure, which was easy to follow again, and they also were able to identify the points and provide their opponent's points and provide supporting evidence to refute their points. While the opposition did not use the usual, or I should say did not follow the usual rules of rebuttal, which is exactly what the proposition did, which was to identify points that their opponents would have presented and also provide the necessary supporting evidence. So we had to overall look at how we could balance and look at a balanced debate, and we found that the debate tonight was fairly balanced, and I will present the findings which the audience will probably agree or disagree. So for the exciting part of the presentation, the better debater for the proposition, Miss Janelle Michael. The better debater for the opposition, Mr. Garen Guffey, the sole male tonight. Coffee, sorry. And the best overall debater, Miss Janelle Michael from St. Anthony's Secondary. An average score of 60 points was awarded to the Sir McChesney George Secondary. And with a total average points of 66 points, the St. Anthony's Secondary declaring the St. Anthony's Secondary the winners of tonight's encounter.
Thank you, Ms. Herbert, and please give our panel of judges a round of applause for their excellent effort this evening. And I also want to commend Ms. Herbert for providing us with such a detailed and comprehensive report. Please give our panel a round of applause. I also wish at this time to offer congratulations to the Sir McChesney George Secondary. Although you would have left us, Ms. Herbert did highlight your positive this evening. So as you go away from this evening's encounter, you can take the positives with you. And I also want to commend the St. Anthony Secondary School as they advance to round 2. Please give both teams a round of applause. And I also wish to congratulate the better speakers on the side of the opposition, Mr. Garen Coffey, and on the side of the proposition, Ms. Janelle Michael, who was also judged the overall best speaker for this evening's encounter. This evening, we'll hear of the final words from our debaters, and we begin with the Sir McChesney George Secondary, and I'm going to invite the speaker to come forward to present the remarks. So I guess it's Garen.
Madam Moderator, honorable judges, listening and viewing audiences, good evening. Thank you all for viewing us, and I would like to say congratulations to our worthy opponent who gave us a good debate, and it was very exciting to participate in. Thank you.
Thank you, Garen. I will now invite Ms. Michael. Faith. I will now invite Faith to come forward to present closing remarks on behalf of St. Anthony Secondary.
Good evening, everyone, once again. First of all, we would like to thank God for bringing us here safely and bringing us this far. Secondly, we would like to thank the Ministry of Education and the Caribbean Union Bank for allowing us to showcase our skills. Next, we would like to thank our principal and trainer for encouraging us and helping us to fine-tune our skills. And last but not least, we would like to thank Magistrate Najio Emmanuel for taking the time out of her day to agree to an interview. Thank you once again.
Thank you, and I wish to express our gratitude to you, our listening and viewing audience, for staying with us throughout this evening's encounter. As we leave you today, let us not forget the importance of debating. Debate is the art of listening, thinking, and speaking with purpose. It teaches us not only to defend our views, but to challenge our assumptions, respect opposing perspectives, and seek truth through dialogue. In every argument lies an opportunity to grow, to learn, and to lead. Until next week, when Antigua Girls High School meet Jennings Secondary School to debate the moot, young people in Antigua and Barbuda should be mandated to engage in at least 1 year of national service I have been your moderator, Alicia Noel. Do enjoy the rest of your evening and God bless.